plan to film. I just thought, because I've got the evening to myself, because my mum's out being active, I could film. Also because I look great right now, honestly. Look at me. Boss ass bitch. That's what I am. Business lady chic. Maybe because I'm alone, I'm just gonna chat shit at you for a little while. Probably gonna crack open a cider because, number one, I just did a thing that scared me, so I'm gonna celebrate. Number two, Okay, if you're on my close friends list on Instagram, which doesn't necessarily mean if you're not on my close friends list that you're not a close friend, it just means you're the sort of person that I trust with my deepest, darkest thoughts. So, yeah, if you're on that list, you may have seen me, this was last night that I did this. I posted because I realised that it's been about like a month since I engaged in self-harm, mostly. I just realised this rather than having like counted the days and reached that day mark mindfully, because personally I'm never sure whether counting days clean is something that helps me or not. So instead I've not really been thinking about it too much, whilst obviously actively trying to not engage in behaviours as much as possible. And then, you know, yesterday I was thinking about it a little bit and trying to remember the last time it happened, and you know, then I figured I made it like a month. That's cool. It's been a while since I've been able to make it that long. So yeah, since I posted that on my close friends list, a couple of friends were like, congrats girl, that's great, and I love you, thank you so much for being so kind and supporting me, because you guys are part of the reason that I'm able to actively engage in recovery rather than actively engaging so much in as relapse. Not, it's a whole different kettle of fish, the fact that you shouldn't be ashamed of relapses, but that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about, yes, me actively having chosen to ignore thoughts when they have come up, thoughts and urges, choosing to distract myself instead of engaging in behaviours, and repeatedly actively doing that, which has brought me to this sort of recovery milestone thing of like about a month clean. So yes, I've just kind of rambled, and that's probably going to be the tone for the whole video, but there you go. I'm going to crack open a cider, treat myself, do a mini little celebration just for me, for myself, because that's one of the things that one of my pals when they messaged me suggested, that I should do a little something to celebrate it, because even if you're not actively counting, if you do little things to celebrate your little victories, I'm sorry, I can't stop doing that. Has she stopped? I think she stopped. She hasn't stopped. We'll just give her a minute, yeah. Stop, please. I think she's done. Yay! Cheers to that, pals. So, what was I saying? I think I was saying that it was important to celebrate little victories, however small, if you notice that they happen, even if you're not sort of like actively tracking them. I think that's the kind of point that I'm getting at right now, is that, how do I put this? I've been being more passive than active in recovery, in the sense that I've not been like tracking everything, but which I would consider being more active about keeping track of things that you're doing and making sure you're doing them, to get better. Instead, I've been just more doing what I can where I can and not thinking about it too much, because in my head thinking about it too much puts pressure on it. You know, there's sort of, I guess in recovery there's sort of there is a pressure to sort of be doing it perfectly. So if you're like one of these people, like I guess I'm trying to be, which is like a mental health advocate online who advocates for recovering from mental illness, you know, as well as just keeping the conversation alive and making sure that people talk about mental illness and mental health generally, and just, you know, destigmatizing everything. I also want to, you know, encourage people to get better where they can. So as someone like that, there is a pressure to only put out positive messages and only be like, yeah, we can do it, we got this, we're recovering, we're fighting the good fight, yeah, you know? there's a pressure to do that and be perfect about it. So like only posting your achievements and, you know, that sort of thing. Not that there's anything wrong with people that do that perfectly. Like, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but it does create a pressure as someone with mental illness to, in order to be recovering, I must be perfect in my recovery and not have any issues, not have any wavering moments where I want to slip back, blah 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 blah. So for me, to avoid that, what I try to do sometimes is just to not count days clean and not make too much of a journal of like, this positive thing happened today, I achieved this goal today, and I've got to achieve this goal next day, and this is what I've got to do by this time, and blah 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 blah. For me, that's putting pressure on it, and sometimes in certain parts of your recovery or your sort of journey with mental health, it's better for you to not put pressure on it and to simply, you know, just do the best that you can where you can. And every little small thing is important, and that means you don't have to, you know, I've got to be doing this big thing and this big thing, and there's this self-care tip and I've got to do that all the time. Like, what I'm trying to say is like the little things like getting out of bed or brushing your teeth or, you know, washing your hair or putting your makeup on one day or not self-harming. You know, like if you have an urge and everything in you just wants you to do it and you're consumed by the thoughts and feelings of like wanting to do it, then your small victory is telling yourself, you know, let's wait this out for 5 minutes, and then after 5 minutes, if I want to, we'll let it happen, but I've just got to wait 5 minutes. And then sometimes when you're waiting in those 5 minutes, you can feel a lot better, and at the end of the 5 minutes, maybe you're ready to tell yourself, okay, let's just wait another 5 minutes, and keep doing that until you don't really want to anymore. You don't feel like you have to self-harm. Or the little victories can be engaging in distractions when you feel like you've got all these urges, like putting on your favourite TV show. Like for me, I watch a lot of Friends, it makes me happy, it's just a really relaxed, chill programme to put on. Hello! Cuddling with my cats instead of doing whatever is something that helps me. Yeah, just giving yourself these little comforts instead of doing the things that exacerbate your illness or the negative things that you do to deal with your illness. If your little victories can be just avoiding those negative things that you would usually do. That's what I'm trying to say. Ramble Central! You're just gonna have to deal with that for this video because I haven't got a plan. I just kind of was feeling like I wanted to film and drink a cider and talk, and also I felt kind of hot. So hello baby number 2! Yeah. One of the things that I do feel is a little bit problematic about me even sharing this on YouTube in a video, because it's one thing to acknowledge it on a private Instagram story and, you know, to have a conversation with a friend and to have a private moment with myself where I drink a cider for myself to celebrate the mini victory. Hello baby, hi! She wants to join in. Yeah, that's one thing, but to, yeah, put it out to YouTube and share it with YouTube is something that I'm a little bit scared would be something of a pressure. The pressure that I was talking about before for recovery to be perfect, because it's not like I'm not... Oh, hello, there she is. Don't knock my camera, please, baby. Yeah, what I was trying to say was that there's still these urges, and I don't know when I'm not going to be able to fend the urges off anymore. And you know, in my mind, I don't feel brave enough yet to say, I'm never going to do this again. I'm never going to self-harm again. I'm only going to keep getting better and better and better, and until, you know, there's no mental illness anymore. There's no bad behaviours, there's none of it. I'm just a normal, healthy, functioning human being. I don't think I'm ever going to say that anytime soon, because I have been pretty unwell as of recently, as of like 3 weeks ago. So, you know, I never know when a turn for the worse is going to come. So to say that that's going to happen, or vow that that's going to happen, and then for something small as a, you know, maybe I engage in behaviours in a small way tomorrow or whatever, if that happens, then to say all of those things would feel like a catastrophic failure, and then that would make everything worse and worse and worse. And there isn't any need for that. It doesn't help me to say that I want everything to be perfect, because of course I want everything to be perfect, but I'm not going to. I know that, you know, I'm still a person who is ill. I'm still a person with depression and anxiety, and you know, I still sometimes suffer with my disordered eating, and that's still a big problem here and there. And I've been dealing with this stuff for like 7 years now, on and off, and you know, sometimes the eating disorder is worse, sometimes the self-harm is worse, sometimes the anxiety is worse, and it all just sort of circles around in a little horrible vortex. And just because one thing gets better for a little bit doesn't mean another thing isn't going to get worse for a bit, and then it's just going to be this sort of roller coaster. For me, I've sort of accepted that this stuff might, you know, come back in small or big ways for the rest of my life maybe, or at least definitely for the coming however many years or so, because I'm not just going... My camera stopped, so if the angle's a little bit different, please ignore it, but I'm not just going to radically be perfect and better and healthy overnight, when I know this has been going on for a long while, and I know that it takes peaks and troughs of recovery, and it's not a straight linear line upwards. So to make grand statements like that, although useful for some, you know, to go cold turkey and be like, this is the end of all the bad behaviours. Some people are maybe strong enough to do that, or whatever. But for me, I know that, yeah, then if even the tiniest bit of a relapse happened, it would feel like a catastrophic failure. It would feel like, because that little thing's happened, there's now nothing stopping me from going full-blown back into the illness and full-blown engaging in all the behaviours to the worst possible again, because that little thing happened, so now there's no going back, and there's, you know, it's not recovery anymore, it's relapse, you know? Because that is way, 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 way more unhealthy than taking every day as it comes, and taking every little thing as it comes, and appreciating every little thing for what it is, which is a small victory. And those things should be celebrated in isolation rather than focusing so much on the big picture sometimes, because it isn't always as clean cut as I'm in recovery. Sometimes the lines between recovery and relapse are sort of more meshed together, and you know, in some ways you're not full-blown in your illness, but in other ways you're still ill. And it's not recovery relapse, it's not this is recovery, it's this is recovery. You know, if you've seen the meme picture or whatever it is, I don't know, there's the meme picture where it's like, this is what people think it is, this is what it actually is. I'm like an absolute idiot. I don't know whether alcohol companies actually sponsor YouTubers or social media influencers, but brothers, if you want to sponsor me, do it, because I fucking love you. I loved this toffee apple flavour, Parma violet flavour, amazing. You've got a bunch of other ones that I also really love. And if you want me to promote you online, I'll do it, because this shit tastes amazing. It is like, if you want to have an alcohol that's not just gonna get you drunk, but you want an alcohol that's like gonna taste good and be a fun experience in your mouth as well as your brain, Brothers, it's a very good choice. I hate myself. That was that random ramble. The point was that, yes, recovery comes in a lot of different forms, and you know, me putting any labels on things saying like I'm in recovery or I'm in relapse is just a self-fulfilling prophecy in some sense if you say I'm in relapse, because then any little thing that you're doing to be in relapse will just get worse and worse and worse, because in your mind you're like, well, I'm in relapse anyway, so fuck it, I'm just gonna let it all happen, who cares, this is a relapse, peace out, brothers. And on the other hand of the coin, if you say I'm in recovery, then like I said, if any little thing comes up and that doesn't look like recovery, then you're gonna think, well, am I really in recovery? Maybe, you know, the perfect picture of recovery is now ruined and I'm not gonna strive for it anymore. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if I've explained any of that properly, but yeah, I hope you get what I'm saying. I feel like it is very, very, very much different for everyone, in that for some people, them monitoring their days clean, especially with like any sort of addiction, not just self-harming, if you are if you smoke cigarettes, if you are, I don't know, a heroin addict or a coke addict or whatever, and you want to be in recovery, so you're counting your days clean, that can very, very much help people, because then every single day they're like, I'm counting all of this up and I've made it 25 days clean, and that's amazing. And truly, that's amazing. And if that's how you're getting by, I'm so proud of you, and keep doing it. If it works for you, keep doing it. Do not feel shattered if any sort of a small relapse happens. No, it's not a good thing, because, you know, I want you all to be healthy and I want you all to be doing amazing and to be being healthy and whatever the hell. But it's just a matter of fact that relapse is part of recovery in a lot of different ways. So you can't let it sort of like wreck your whole path to being better, because as long as your like overall thing is, I'm not going to give up and I'm not going to let myself die, I'm not going to let myself go down too much of a spiral, as long as that's your overall mentality, then you're in the right direction. And honestly, where I was a few weeks ago, the overall direction that I was thinking of was, I'm going to end up dying, because the only place that I'm going right now is towards suicide. That's how I felt a few weeks ago, and I'm not trying to shame anybody who's in that position or tell them that they're any less, you know, worthy of praise or worthy of recovery. They are. They're very, very much worthy. They're struggling and they're in a horrible position right now where they've got a big lack of hope, but it's going to be okay, because I believe in that for you. And you know, I've turned it around from a few weeks ago. The picture of my life right now is a little bit better than it was, which means that it can be a little bit better for you too, if you just hang in there. And like, one of the things that I've blabbed on and on and on about in past videos is, sometimes it is good enough if you're just surviving, okay? Surviving is better than you committing suicide or completely giving up in that way. The only way that you've fully given up and you're fully beyond recovery is if you die. And that may happen if, say, your addiction was to get worse and worse and you accidentally overdose, or that would happen in, it's getting heavy, a mental illness, if things got worse and worse and worse and you know, took your own life and that's it, you're gone. I don't mean just an attempt, because if you attempt and you make it through that, then you've got a chance and you're worthy of recovery, and there's still hope. There only isn't hope when you're dead. That's the only point that you can't turn back from. So there's always hope while you're still alive and breathing, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, because while you're still alive and breathing, even if you feel like shit now, there is room and space and time for your mind to change and get better, and for you to find hope again, and to get yourself back on a general better road, you know? Like, I'm back on a slightly general better road, but I'm not going to put pressure on it because I know the nature of these illnesses, and they're absolute bitches and they can just wrap your hands around your throat at any time and drag you back down. And I know that that can happen. I know that that could happen to me, but I'm going to live more in the now and embrace the fact that things feel a little bit more okay again, rather than worry about what might happen. That's what's like better for me right now, is to appreciate every little good thing that is happening and hold on to that as hope for things just continuing to get better. Because if I worry too much about things getting worse, or I worry too much about me striving for happiness and then that happiness failing in some way, like if you're worrying so much about what might happen in a negative way, then you won't appreciate what is so good about now, which, you know, even if you can recognise that your heart keeps beating and your lungs keep taking in air and expelling it, then that means that there's still hope. Do you know what I mean? No, I'm not a professional that has all the answers, but I'm a human being, you're a human being, we're all just trying to be better human beings and like keep, striving for what might make us happier one day and what might give us more hope and give us more drive and all of that stuff. So that's what makes me worth listening to. Not that I know what I'm saying, but as a human being, I care about you, and I'm talking to you right now, and I want you to listen to me right now because I care about you, and I want to help you in any way that I possibly can. And if that means I just sit here in my kitchen with a bottle of cider and ramble about mental health and recovery and relapse and everything that means to me and might mean to you, if that helps you in any way, shape or form, then I've done my job here and I've served the purpose that I am sat in front of you here now for. But that's it for now. Celebrate your victories, no matter how small. Every little thing is worth celebrating, even if it's just you're breathing in and out still, okay? Oh. Hey pal. Peace out, mother trucker.